My plan was I was going to get my car up to top speed on the highway and either flip it or crash it into the concrete side of an overpass. I didn't want it to be nice, I didn't want it to be quiet, I wanted it to be really violent, and I wanted to just wreck myself as completely as possible. The day I was supposed to go pick up Chinese food with my mom, and when I drove there, I passed this dude that I went to high school with. And I'd worked with him, I'd been friends with him, and I always felt like he was me, but just like a little bit better. It was like he dated this girl that I'd been friends with, and he had this car that I really wanted. He had a cool sports car, and he worked a job that I tried to get and didn't have the experience to get. But when I drove past him, I was just like, wow, that's it. I can't do it, obviously. I failed. He's done all this stuff, and I have done none of this. What am I good for? Why am I still here? So I ended up parking behind the Chinese store and reaching out to my friend, this girl that I'd worked with for a couple of years and knew pretty well. And I just said, hey, if you've ever wanted to save somebody, I need saving, because I think if I stay by myself, I'm going to kill myself. Thankfully, she had called the police somewhere along our talk, and they had found me. Shortly after, I was on my way driving, and I drove past them, and they turned around and immediately started chasing me down a gravel road. And the only thing that went through my head was you know what, I'm down to die, but I'm not down for my parents to think I died by accident running from the police and having no idea what happened to me. Therapy is so important. And people talk about therapy there is the therapy. You go and you do the therapy. And it's no, there are dozens of kinds of therapy, and they do totally different things, and you work on totally different parts. The number one cause of healing outcomes from therapy is your relationship with the therapist. It almost doesn't really matter what you do. It's the fact that somebody has your back no matter what. So for the next year, I went and talked to a bunch of therapists, sat down, asked them to go for coffees, and was hey, do you want to start a group? Do you want to start a group? I found a manual in the States. I was hey, look, these guys made a suicide prevention manual for people who attempted. Let's do it. And I got to meet some really cool people. They ran a pilot of the group, and it went awesome. There's a couple people that finished, and they said it changed their lives, and they didn't feel suicidal afterwards. I don't think it's as much about getting rid of the negative stuff as it is about adding the positive stuff. Because now even when I'm in that rough of a spot, I always have the ability to remember, I have so many people that care about me. I have my therapist. I'm going to see them next week. They check on me if I miss something. They check my charts to see if I'm in hospital so they can get a hold of me. Because you can't always get that with people you know, not because of anything that has to do with them, but because they're people you know. Because you might say I am the worst person in the world, and I've tried to kill myself, and I have all these disorders, and I feel like I'm not worth saving. And then the therapist will go, okay, well, who else in the group feels like that? And 12 out of the 13 people put their hands up. And it's okay, well, we're all here, and I like all of you, so maybe I'm worth liking too. And every time you go back, it's not, I slipped, I relapsed, I'm here again, all of my progress has disappeared. It's no, but think about how many good days you've had in between and try and stretch those out. And you know what, even if they didn't stretch out, if you had the same number of good days between every time you were suicidal for the rest of your life, look at the good days, you have some.